episode 82 with Mike Samson, Colin MacMichael, Tom Dunn, Paul Clancy, and the man himself, Kyle Pawlett. Let's do it. Stay tuned. I left it up again. 82, 83. What episode? 82 is this, John. How are you, my man?
I'm good, brother. How you doing today, man?
Not bad. Hanging in there. What day is it? Tuesday? Tuesday today.
Tuesday. Canada Day tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Day. Happy Canada Day in advance.
Yeah, we all needed a holiday since it's been so long.
Well, that's very true. Happy Canada Day. Yeah, a celebration is kind of needed. It's been an absolute shit of a year. So anyway, thanks to our sponsors out there at Maritime Madness. Make sure you check them out. Fantastic sponsor locally. Check them out, maritimemadness.com. Use the code FLA10. You'll save 10% and get free shipping in Canada. Great sponsors, as well as bckimonos.ca. The best kimonos, the best gis, the best gear in the game. That's a motto, Brett. You can steal that from me. John, we got a great episode today.
Yeah. The Newfoundland and Labrador crew. So
very cool.
Interested to talk to these guys. I mean, I really only know Colin from training with him. So Kyle and I'm not sure about the other guys, but I know Kyle. I was at the Bio Open for sure. So they've been over here and competed and trained with some of the crew in Nova Scotia. So yeah, man. I mean,
should be fun.
Yeah, interested to hear what they have to say, and I want to know what's going on in Newfoundland, man. I mean, when I left Newfoundland in 2001, there was no jiu-jitsu there that I knew of. So
yeah, it's interesting how far everything has come on the East Coast, and it's because of a lot of these people that we're going to talk to here tonight. So
yeah,
I guess without further ado, let's start with the man out of St. John's. He owns St. John's Jiu-Jitsu and Judo Club. He's a black belt, a second-degree black belt in Judo. He's a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He's a black belt in Trident Jiu-Jitsu. He's super well known in Newfoundland and on the East Coast as well. He's driving down the highway. He's a guy that I've actually meant to go train with when I was over in Newfoundland. He opened me with welcome arms. I didn't get to make it, but he's a guy that holds a lot of respect in the community. So let's bring him on first. Mr. How are you, Mr. Mike Samson?
Pretty good, man. I'm just heading to the family cabin there now for Canada Day. I got my 10-year-old being the cameraman while I'm driving. So
that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate that, and drive safe while we're doing this podcast. I love that. Technology's cool. So let's get into our second guest. We'll bring him on right away. He owns Lab City Jiu-Jitsu. He's a brown belt under Nova União, Canada. Wagner Fabiano and that crew. He's been, he's trained, like you said, he's been over here at the Bio Open. He's competed in a lot of IBJJF tournaments and done very well. He's almost one of the faces of good competition over there in the area, and runs a really, really great club in Lab City. So without further ado, Mr. Kyle Pawlett.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Awesome. How you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Yeah, we're here just, trying to get the word when we're going to train.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, dungeon training. All right, let's get into it. Our next guest here, going down the line, he owns NFT Jiu-Jitsu, NFTBJJ, I guess you'd call it, in the Grand Falls, Windsor area. He's a family man. He's a guy, you look at his social media and stuff, he's one of those guys that takes a lot of pride in the gym that he runs and what he's been doing in that little community. And it's people like him that are going to keep the sport going. So we'd love to welcome him on. He's part of, I believe, if I could, correct me if I'm wrong when I bring him on, Shane Rice, I believe. If I'm wrong, he'll correct me right now, hopefully in a bad way or good way. Oh, Clancy. Oh. No audio.
Can't hear you, Paul. We're trying our best. His magnificent beard is muffling everything he says.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you can hear us.
Your mic is muted. It says your mic's not connected on your end. I'm gonna kick you out. Maybe we'll just try to join.
Try coming back in. Yeah.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it starts.
Mike's back. Good.
Yeah, well, it's this is the beauty of technology, folks. You got 6 people from all over the country, and especially where we are. We're going across the ocean here a little bit. So anyway, let's get our next guest in here. John, you and I have known this guy a hell of a long time. Colin MacMichael, he's a guy. He means a lot to me. He was actually the first guy who competed on Submission Series Pro. He was the first match. And did a hell of a lot. He's a guy who competed a lot over here up until blue belt. Then he moved over to Newfoundland. He's come back over here, supported our events, came back over and competed in a match against me and kicked my ass. But he's a guy that he's a really, really great guy who's done a lot for jiu-jitsu over in Newfoundland, but also here in Nova Scotia. So, Mr. Colin MacMichael.
Oh, hey guys! What an intro.
Hey.
I don't know if I whipped your ass. I
Eric's the king intros, man.
Bum ankle that you had.
Yeah, it was a bum ankle, but you went for it and you got it. So, but you don't put your. It's for me to grapple against you and do a half decent. I'm okay with that by all means. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Let's see if we can get Paul back in here. It says his device is not connected, so I'm gonna try to get him back in, but. Anyway, Paul, if you are listening, just go back out and maybe try it on a different device. Sometimes a different device may work for you. But, John, I'll let you take it away.
Cool. Thanks, man. Let's just get into some background, guys. And I don't know, is Mike, are you still able to hear us? Because I cannot hear the shocks on the camper van anymore. So I'm not sure if Mike might be frozen. Let's drop down to Kyle, man. I just want to let everybody know who you guys are. Right? How did you come to be a brown belt in jiu-jitsu? Maybe give them your rank, where you train, how you got started, and where you at, man? And all that. Go ahead,
Kyle. My whole life I've been training in some type of martial art. I was doing karate, and I got a black belt in karate, and when I was a kid, me and my dad used to rent the UFC, like the first UFC. I can remember that, and I was heartbroken when this little guy from Brazil beat all these kickboxer karate guys. I was like, what just happened, basically? And of course, I live in a small town. I grew up in a town of 10,000 people. Yeah. And when I finally went to university, I got a chance. It wasn't the first year. The first year, it was just kind of getting to know St. John's, actually. I went to St. John's, and then I started training jiu-jitsu. And that was 2004 is when I first started. And nice. I went to school there for 6 years. So I trained in St. John's, I think, for 3.5 years. And then I came up to Labrador, and I came back to Labrador to work. And of course, there wasn't a BJJ club, so I had to buy some mats. That was the first thing I did, and I started recruiting. And of course, you get 50 people that want to start, and then 2 months in, 2 months in, you got 10 core guys, and
Anytime you're out at the Barthel, you can double that.
Oh yeah,
I'll be there Monday, brother.
Oh man, it still happens. It still happens.
I bet it does, dude.
Oh man, I know. There's always those random guys that you run into once a year, once every 2 years, and every time you see them, it's the same bullshit. Yeah, man, I'm coming in. I've been talking about doing it. I can't wait. I'll see you Monday.
You know the Fighter's Market website? You know that website?
Yeah, so that's awesome, man. And so you're up in Lab City now. Now, I remember you coming over to the Dubai Open a few years ago.
Yeah.
Was it just the one time, or was it? It was twice, right?
No, it was. I was there once. I think one of my students, Stephen Chapman, was there twice. Yeah.
Nice. It was super cool to see you guys coming from so far away, like the guys from obviously the island, but from Labrador as well.
I was pissed they came to your tournament and snubbed mine.
I mean, what do you expect? No, When you came over, like, do you guys have tournaments in Newfoundland? Is there any jiu-jitsu competition there at all?
My first tournament was held by in St. John's. It was held by the Kempo Karate group, and they were like, they used to come to our seminars, you know, with Leo and Wagney, and they were introduced to it, you know, early on. But they held a grappling tournament, and it was from the knees at that time. Like it was like super early. It might have been 2006, probably. Yeah, 2006, I think it was. Yeah, but I got gold. I got gold in that one at that time.
Nice.
But there was only a couple of us that were really into it at the time. But it was a lot of fun. But that was my introduction to the competition scene for sure.
That's killer, Colin. I don't want to leave you sitting there all day.
Is Paul? Can you hear us now, Paul?
I don't mind.
Mother.
Fun fact: Paul Clancy is actually a mute. I don't know if you guys know that.
Paul buys all his audio equipment on Alibaba Express.
Paul, we can't hear you. I'm sorry, man. Right now, he's verbally telling Colin to go to hell.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing his warm-up drills.
There you go. Everybody's back for you, John, but we're still having.
Yeah, it's perfect. Hey, man, I'm just going to talk to Colin here, and we'll give her. Hopefully things work out here in a minute, but we'll do our best. Colin, get into it, man. Like, I remember training with you when you were here in Nova Scotia quite a while back, and then you went back to Newfoundland. Yeah, what's up, man? What have you been doing, and where are you training over there, and what brought you back to Newfoundland?
What's my deal? Well, nobody mentions when you marry a Newfoundlander, you lose.
Oh yeah, like no, that's standard. Yeah.
Yeah, so we came over. That's almost 6 years ago. My wife got a job up in Norris Point, up in Grossmore National Park.
Okay.
So we've been there for a while now. I just got a job with Moe, and they have a facility in Stephenville, so I'm working out of Stephenville. But yeah, I've been training in Cornerbrook as much as I can with George Altine, Paul Chasson, Rob Anderson, and a bunch of the boys there. Hopefully some of them are watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, deadly little club. Gavin Tucker's here all the time. We had Jake up. We had George's black belt, Alex Roke up one time. He graded a couple fellers. But it's super open up here. But it's just like any other jiu-jitsu place, really. Like, you go anywhere. Like, you show up at the gym and you see Kyle and the boys on the mats. And anywhere, really. But yeah, it's good training. We've got, a brown belt and 3 purple belts and a bunch of blue belts now. So
nice. Growing. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all word of mouth time, right? Yeah. Absolutely. I found that's the biggest thing with running clubs. It's word of mouth, and it's just that organic growth. That's the kind of people, like, you might bring a lot of people through the door with advertisements or signage or whatever, but in the end, you're not going to end up with that many of them. If someone's willing to at least look you up or seek you out or talk to somebody else, yeah, that's usually what makes a big difference, I find. But yeah, it's wicked. I mean, 100%, right? Those are the people that stick, and jiu-jitsu is not for everybody. Martial arts isn't for everybody. Fighting isn't for everybody. Oh, here we go. This is the one case we had today, everybody.
Corona.
Shit, I muted my mic. Bastards heard that.
No, you muted Paul's mic. That's what you did.
Well, Paul, can you hear now? Can you talk?
Oh, he can talk. We just can't hear him.
We just can't hear it. You're gonna have sign language, Mike. Can we get you in, Mike? Yeah. There's Mike.
Google Translate, I think, has sign language now.
Mike stopped in for.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me now? I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. Hey, Mike. While we got you for a minute, let's get some background on you, man. How'd you get into martial arts? Where are you training now? Where do you live? What's your deal, Mike? Besides camping.
He's the OG.
I Well, I'm here now, just down by the water.
Oh wow.
Me, how'd I get into it? I got into it. My my original coach was actually like my swimming instructor, and I found out he was doing jiu-jitsu, and I got that same old story of, I saw the UFC and Hoist Gracie, and then I remembered, hey, I know a guy who does jiu-jitsu. Now it was Japanese jiu-jitsu, but I didn't know the difference at the time, so I signed up. And that was in 1993.
Oh wow.
And we were doing jiu-jitsu and judo. Pretty much did that till 2009, and BJJ was getting more and more popular, and I was looking for a coach, reached out to Jeff Joslin. He was one of the nicer guys I ever spoke to.
Yeah, Jeff's a great guy.
Flew him in, and then that was it. It kind of just rolled from there, and Jeff's been kicking my ass ever since. And there's certainly, it's like everyone got a big, long, boring story full of details, but that's that's everything in a nutshell.
Nice. It's amazing how many stories, like we ask just about everybody this, don't we, Derek? And how many of them say they watched the first UFCs? Like if the Gracies did anything,
100%,
bringing jiu-jitsu out with the UFC was the most brilliant plan, and thankfully it all worked out to plan. I mean, if Hoist Gracie got his ass kicked, I wonder if we'd all be sitting here, right?
Definitely not.
Probably not, right?
Man,
You'd still be talking about how great karate is.
Yeah, exactly.
Just imagine if Fred Eddish hit a knockout.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, things could have been very different, which is bizarre to even think about. But I mean, it's just awesome. Like, guys, how many clubs are there in Newfoundland now? Because I remember it didn't seem like it was that long ago. We didn't hear about really anything going on in Newfoundland, and I mean, it sounds like it's been going on longer than we hear about it. But I guess really it only came on my radar once I started seeing guys showing up for competition. Paul, jump right in.
9?
Geez, the Foleys have 3.
Yeah.
Paul, we are having
Paul,
I feel so terrible for you, man. And the more it goes on, the more pissed off he looks. I don't know I'm scared.
Foleys have 3, 9.
9 clubs now?
Yeah, Foley's have 3. Republic, Clarenville, which was Tom, Paul, us, and Kyle.
That's every gym.
Yeah,
and Mike.
Colin Fowler got a club.
Mike Fowler.
Colin
Fowler.
He's got a club with the base, and I think he's somehow tied in with 8 Limb, maybe, or that's Drew Hilliard.
I have heard of it over in Newfoundland. Yeah. Geez, that's amazing. I mean, that's got to be. I wasn't counting. I should have been. That must have been like 10 clubs you mentioned, right? So, are you guys going to start seeing tournaments spring up where you are? Like, is there any kind of a local scene now besides what Kyle was talking about way back? Like, are you doing anything?
There is one tournament over there, I know of.
Is there?
Yeah, maybe a couple.
Yeah, and I
think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, like I feel as if, like, in Newfoundland, especially with the exception of the couple higher ranked guys, like for the majority part, it's like a lot of white belt and blue belts. There are purple belts that start to compete as well, but I haven't really. I've asked about higher ranked belts to train or to compete, but
yeah,
it seems like they're more the coach, and you need reps, and so it's like there's not enough of the brown and black belts for like the higher rank, but there has been a couple that I know of, like tournaments, but kind of small for sure, and of course the population.
Yeah, of course. That's club owners putting on competitions, though, is it over there?
Yeah.
And getting some sort of a scene going. I mean, it's the same thing here. How it was forever. It was pretty much just club owners for the longest time, and then other guys that trained, like Derek and Rogue, and these guys started putting on tournaments here. And and we've been fortunate to have a pretty regular circuit for a few years. But it almost seems like Newfoundland, kind of where Nova Scotia was as a whole, maybe like 6-7 years ago, where now we've got a pile of black belts here in Nova Scotia, a pile of brown belts and purple belts, and our competition scene. I mean, it's always going to be mostly white belts, but we've had lots of tournaments too where we had, you know, more than one blue belt bracket per weight class, and more than one purple belt and brown and black. So, you know, if you've got guys putting on those tournaments now, it'd be interesting to see where they're at in 4 or 5 years, and it'd be awesome to see someone grow some sort of a competition in Newfoundland that people started traveling over there for as well. I mean, I'd love to have an excuse to go back to Newfoundland. Absolutely. It's been like 10 years at least. So,
well, I think, I mean, you give it 5 years, and when the average purple and brown belt is like 22 instead of 40, you probably see a lot more competition. You know.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. It really sounds like the evolution of kind of how it went now.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, yeah, the brown and the black belts, we're all pretty, you know, pushing 30s, 40s, but there's a lot of guys coming up now, blue belt and purple belt and brown belt, that are much younger as well. So, it's sweet to see, man.
I was 29, so, you know.
There you go.
The guys fighting the brown and black categories in Ontario, and I guess in the U.S. moreover, I mean, geez, they're 23, 24.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen in the competition, the skill level is just elevated so much too. Like, I remember back in the day when someone was a blue belt and it was like, holy shit, like that's a blue belt over there. Like that guy would just murder us all, right? And then to compare that to a blue belt now that's, you know, doing well with brown belts and black belts in roles, like some of the blue belts and purple belts coming up are just 5 levels above, I think, where it was even 8 or 9 years ago. There's no question. And you guys must be seeing a really steep growth curve over there right now, are you?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
Are they getting better, Foster, or are you getting worse?
I'm getting worse. I'm getting more broken down. You're probably getting better still. Buddy, it's like this for me. Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, what I just try to do, I just try to keep up with the new stuff, basically. But the only difficult part in that, owning a small club, is that you gotta, you know, show the white belts and the blue belts the basics still, but then you also don't want them to go out to a competition and get baramboloed at blue belt, you know. So you got to be showing it. Like the basics aren't the basics anymore. Like the basics are De La Hiva, like X guard, like that's and even barambolo defenses. You got to be, and that's basics now. Back in 5 years ago, it was like you can't show that to a white belt or a blue belt but now you absolutely have to, because you'll see if you go to one of these, you know, IBJJF and even like the Nova Scotia tournaments, it's just quickly evolving. It's unbelievable. So you just got to be up on all that.
That's a good point, because you're right. The spectrum of the game is just so much bigger now than it ever was before. Where you could get away with fundamentals, like you said, 10 or 15 years ago. Now, if you don't know a little bit of a lot, you're gonna probably be caught off guard with something. And I mean, you know, it's the kind of sport. Unfortunately, we only need to take one, you know, make one mistake to come in second or last.
Absolutely.
No, that's sweet, man. I mean, you guys all, I'm assuming Colin's laughing his head off. He's obviously young and spry still. Are you guys all still rolling regularly? I know up in Lab City, you must feel kind of like you have to roll, you know, just the guys are like, getting,
Up in Lab City, like we train normally, we train 4 days a week, and it's pretty intense. And I'm 37, but I try to, you know, do as much exercise as I can just to keep up, right? Because I have a Steven Chapman who's brown belt. Under me, he's 8 years younger. So, you know, you can't be losing your steam at 37, right? You gotta keep pushing, because if not, you know what happens.
Yeah, that's right. They snap you like a twig.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of motivation for me, I guess, to stay on my game, stay sharp.
Yeah, man. Paul, do you want to try your mic again? I'm sorry, man. I can't help but laugh. I mean, you've been such a wicked sport about all this. It's painful. He's 42, he's telling us. There we go. We did it. Yes. He doesn't look like he's 42. I was going to say he's not a year over 29, but oh, shit. Well, that's too bad. We'll have to try to get this guy on again when we can get his mic working and see what's up. Let's jump in, guys. This is like kind of the topic that's been beaten to death already. What's going on with COVID over in Newfoundland? Is it the same as Nova Scotia as far as restrictions? I have no idea what your numbers are. I'm assuming they should be better than everywhere because of accessibility. Yeah, beautiful.
0, yeah.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Are you guys training? Are you guys able to get back with what? You know, is there a process in place? Like, has anybody been looking at this?
I mean, I've been looking at it a lot, and I guess from 2 angles. One, I mean, with Judo, we're a provincial sports organization, which is something that Jiu-Jitsu doesn't have. So I've been getting a little bit more contact with the government through that avenue. But the answer from Sport NL, from public health, from the government is, we don't know what to tell you. Don't touch anybody.
Jeez, yeah.
You know, it's not. No one's really giving you a clear answer, and they're not doing it to be difficult. They're doing it because they're flying by the seat of their pants. They don't necessarily understand. You know, you got to social distance. You can drill, but you can't be in contact, and you got to stay in your bubble. And it's all the same things we're hearing. I was on the phone today with called me back, and you know, he's digging into it, telling him, like, listen, this non-contact drilling stuff is going to fly. You know, they want to do jiu-jitsu, not yoga. And that's not to knock yoga if you're into it, but that's not what I teach either. So, you know, until they come up with some regulations based around what we can wear masks and shit. We're choking each other anyway with the gi over our face and can't breathe. So
yeah,
I'm cool with a mask. And, you know, pick a specified partner, stick with them for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. And there's other things we can do and I guess mitigate the potential risk. But if we're going to train, anyone wants to train and COVID's on the go, you sign your waiver and you understand the risk you're taking. And if you don't want to do that, that's entirely up to you. I get people are in different family situations and health situations, and they're just going to have to avoid training, and I understand it. But for those who want to and are willing to take the risk, I mean, you know, if I can go down to a bar and get piss-eyed drunk and play the slots and have some guy spitting Irish music at me for 5 hours when they're not enforcing these the minimum capacity stuff. The bars on George Street, they're open, they're packed.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you can go out and do that, then you should be able to make the adult choice to.
I agree. I mean, we're used to having. Hey!
Oh, you got me.
Oh, here we go. All right, guys, have a good night. It's been a great show.
That was the worst thing that ever happened. Yeah.
Good, Paul. Well, Paul passed the test anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't agree though. I totally agree with what you're saying. Totally agree.
Yeah, it seems a little unfair in a lot of these situations, right? And I was just about to say, like, you know, if you've been training jiu-jitsu for any amount of time at all, you know that when you get off the mat, your shit goes in the wash, you need to get a shower, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wash your hands, wash your face. You know, if you're not going to shower at the club, don't be a fool. And, you know, to say that adults that have been training, like, maybe don't bring in new members right away. But to not, you know, to the guys that have been training together for 10 years or 5 years, whatever, why can't we go into the gym, not be idiots? You know, I was looking at some masks online the other day that hooked across the back, with Velcro, as well as like looped around the ears and had vents, so you're not going to die from like carbon monoxide poisoning. I think, right? So I've been looking into options here as well, but it's kind of the same boat, man. Like you go certain places, it just pisses you off because they're obviously not being held to the same standards that we all the rest of us are, right?
Yeah, I think what you're having happen too.
Listen,
you have businesses that are sorry about that.
No, go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
You have businesses, right, that are, so anxious to get back there and open up. But the standards for us are so strict that there's really no way we can kind of bend the rules the way a lot of other organizations might be already bending the rules. I'm not going to listen, but there's a ton of organizations that have opened up here in Grand Falls with kids, and I can see them playing. My kids, I have 2 boys myself, and nobody's social distancing. So it's like they get to bend the rules, but because we got to play by the rules, there's nowhere we can go. It's terrible. We have no options. And I mean, I seen Shane Rice and the boys have some good plans going on in Halifax, and they had a layout of the mats as to where everybody's going to stand. And one of the boys wrote me and we're like, "Oh, this is great. They got a plan." And I said, "Man, it looks like a shitty time to me."
Yeah, I read their plan today as well, actually. And
like that's not jiu-jitsu to me. You're standing by yourself on a mat and doing drills. Like we've all been doing that home for months. We want to train, man.
Yeah, it's tough. And even the numbers thing, like how many people have a mat space big enough to have more than like 6 or 7 people on it based on the requirements, right?
Yeah, we're really lucky. We got a lot of room, but that is not the norm.
No, right? Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. It's tough. Like we would regularly have 20 to 30 people in the jiu-jitsu class, and now we're looking at being able to operate at like a 5th or a 6th of capacity, which is just never mind financially how shitty it is, but also logistically, like how do you now take your 50 or 60 members or whatever you got and juggle all of them getting equal time and instructors that aren't in contact with all these different people, and it's a logistical nightmare, and it's just a pile of shit, which, I was really hoping we were going to hear some changes yesterday. Yesterday was supposed to be the reevaluation of our state of emergency here. And all they did was push events to 200 people with distancing, but 10 people bubbles so that you're strongly suggested you stay within those 10 people, but you can have contact with 10 people. So this is basically the logistics we're looking at work around. And with Fight League Atlantic, we submitted our reopen plan today. And it's this massive document with diagrams of the arena and the octagon and all this to try to accomplish this. Because with 200 people in a building, we can pull it off. Now,
I think they're taking away all your guns and all your martial arts.
Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah. Get me started. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I mean, for FLA, it's starting to make a little more sense. If we can do something with 200 people, with a gym with 10 people at a time, with the door closed and with the cleaning, like, has anybody got any ideas? Are you guys just ready to kind of say, fuck it, we're opening in July? And yeah, I mean, you can say it on here. Nobody's going to see it.
Well, I mean, I asked today, just so the guys can hear, like, when I was on with the government today, I asked them, I said, so, like, is anyone going to come if I open up, stick a mask on, wash my hands, we go in and we roll? Am I getting is someone's going to give me a fine? And his answer to me was, I don't know. He said, he said it's basically guidelines, and whether that's going to be supported by any legislation so that they could actually really enforce it, nobody knows because nobody's challenged it. So it's a guideline. They don't want you to do this stuff, but I mean, are you really breaking the law, or are you just kind of, skirting the guidelines? And, I was big on following everything the government came out with, and I'm all about following the experts, following the doctors. They know this stuff better than I do. Yeah. But when there's been 0 cases for 33 days, and they're all saying, it's probably no COVID on the island right now, then, what's the harm of some exercise with a partner at this point? And again, what they came back to me and they said they don't know if it's enforceable. So this was coming from someone working for government, that they're telling me that, it's basically a guideline, and check with your private insurance. And if they're going to cover you, then make your own decision. So they're not going to come out and tell you can't, but at the same time, they're not going to, come out and tell you that they can absolutely enforce this and tell you can't train either, because they really don't know and you know what? Unless it gets tested in court, nobody knows.
Yeah, who's going to put it on the line?
Yeah. And who's going to do that? Virtually every store you go into is basically breaking those guidelines.
Oh,
exactly.
For real.
Right?
Yeah.
Every single place you go. So it's like, who's going to enforce any of this?
Yeah, it's so true.
And again, I totally believe in us, in everything we've done up to this point. It worked, obviously. I mean, our caseload is nil.
It's very true.
I would never want to risk anyone, put anyone at risk to get sick because of something I did. But when there's literally 0 cases, there's an argument to be made that, well, we flatten the curve. That was the whole point, flatten the curve. Well, the curve's flat. You can't get any flatter. So until there's a risk level to look at again, then, I mean, if we're waiting around for a vaccine, we're not training until 2021 around Christmas.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right.
The other side of this coin that nobody else is talking about as well is the more time people are not training, the less time they're spending getting healthy. And we all know now that is basically the only thing that's fighting this virus, is be as healthy as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
So that if you are unlucky enough to get it, where there's various cases, at least you're healthy enough that you can fight it.
Yeah.
So when we had this little reprieve where everybody's saying it's going to come back the winter, well, now get as good as we can.
Oh.
We lost you again.
He was a good run, man.
He was. He had his breakthrough moment. No, man, I 100% agree with you on that, too. We're all sitting around letting our immune systems go to shit. So when the time does come that we get back on the mats, as soon as we're exposed to a big group of people and we're sweating, everyone's going to have the friggin' flu and think they have COVID anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a shit show for a bit. I can't see us having kids back in the gym until at least schools reopen. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, especially with a lot of them, I guess, if they are carrying, they're asymptomatic, so it makes it difficult to diagnose, and all the bad things come with that. I mean, I guess I just really would never want to be the guy that opens up a business and that's where it kicks off and causes a big problem, right? Just from a health standpoint, you'd feel like an asshole if there was a way to guarantee everyone's safety and go back to the way it was. Hell yeah. But right now it's just so much speculation and bullshit. It's hard to even make moves.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be that guy. You wouldn't want to be that guy.
All the guys in the States.
No, you wouldn't want to be that guy. And what were you saying about the States, Colin? Sorry.
Looking on social media, you see guys like Gary Tonin and Keenan Cornelius all getting huffity-puffity over this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're professionals. They can
those
pick who
guys
they train
I've
with.
been following those guys too, Colin. It's wild.
Yes, bizarre. I understand they have to train, but they're getting all these people up in arms because they think they have the right to do whatever they want. And I just find it strange. Why would you, like you were saying, why would you want that?
Yeah, why would you even take on the responsibility of that risk to the public? It's tough. I mean, the United States is just so much different than here in Canada in general. I was talking to a gentleman in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, it's back to normal here. You never know. I mean, everything's just whatever. But then they've got some of the highest concentration of COVID in Florida, right? So, America, they do whatever they want kind of thing. Listen, before we get any further, Paul, if your microphone is still working.
I don't know. We'll see.
There we go. Give us some of the background on yourself, man. How'd you get into martial arts, and where are you at? You're in Grand Falls, is that correct?
Grand Falls, yeah. We're in central Newfoundland. So I'm actually from St. John's, and we moved to Grand Falls about eight years ago or so.
Okay.
I was doing some Muay Thai in St. John's, just casually, not competitive, anything like that. Always wanted to train jiu-jitsu, and just never really came up. Again, this was 8, maybe 10 years ago or so, and there wasn't a big scene. I'd never even heard of anybody doing it in St. John's. And it was only when I moved to Grand Falls that I heard of nice. I heard of a few of my a few guys.
Are they
that were
sponsoring you,
doing it.
Colin? Sorry to cut you off, Paul. Is that their sponsor, Colin, or what?
He tells everybody.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not going to see this.
Sorry, Paul. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, sure. Man. Yeah, so I trained under a guy, Mark Feener, that kind of had it going here, as well as Matt King before him.
Okay.
And, just like many small clubs, they go through their members, and they kind of 8, 10 members, and it kind of fiddles away and stuff. And I just made a point a couple years ago, and I was like, every time we train, I'm going to post a picture, just really try to grow this. And it was all you needed. It was all you needed. Brought in members like crazy. Just posting pictures on Facebook. And we went from we had last going off, we had 8 paying members, and we were up to 106 before all this happened in 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, like this was a pretty bad hit. We were rocking pretty good.
Damn, no doubt. You want to
Gavin and in Nova Scotia, and that was awesome, and starting to compete, and things were going well, and bang.
That's amazing. Man, if you ever want to come over to Nova Scotia and take some pictures of yourself in my gym, get my membership up. That'd be fantastic.
Absolutely, man.
I'll just put you on like a tour, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's all about your kids program, right? It's just about getting kids in to have fun and get that base. And truly, it's not hard for me to get really fired up about it, because I spent 10, 12 years on a pool deck teaching kids swimming. So This was just like, oh my God, I get to do this all over again, find something else fun that I think is like really important for kids.
Yeah, hell yeah. I 100% agree. I've got 2 young sons myself, and they're both in jiu-jitsu. They started when they were 3.5. One guy's, just turned 4, and the other guy will be 9 this year. So I think it's imperative, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually, sorry to cut you off on that. I graduated from Lewisport Collegiate in 2001. So back in the day when I lived in central Newfoundland, I don't think there was anything going on back then. And I mean, even no one that I went to high school with in Newfoundland has ever posted a picture of themselves in the gis. So it would be amazing to see if someone did trickle in from Lewisport or from any of those guys. But yeah, man.
Mike, I would guess was Republic. I guess Republic was the first school. He looks like he's froze up now.
He froze up in a good place, though, man. Like, that's a wicked smile. God bless him. He could have been way worse.
I think Republic was the first one in Newfoundland, the first true BJJ school. That's where I started. That's where I
went for my first little taste, maybe about 12 years ago, and they had a huge crew of guys there the day I went there. So it was a well-established thing,
Yeah.
That's deadly. Now, let's one last question before we let you guys go. I appreciate you guys coming on here tonight and chatting with us. It's been good. Good to have Paul's mic working, and we're up and running, and things really are just on the up here now. So MMA in Newfoundland, any talk about it? Anybody ever have any aspirations of promoting, or this is something, I'll be honest with you, me and Derek have already talked about coming to Newfoundland as soon as we possibly can, if we can make that happen. Like, what's the talk over there? Is there anybody looking at MMA, or you guys got guys at your gym that want to fight MMA, or what's going on there?
Not as far as Labrador. I don't think so. There's a lot of guys there's a few kids here that are interested in MMA, and they have kickboxing backgrounds and stuff like that. But it seems like some of them like kind of stay away from the jiu-jitsu part of it, which is, I don't know. We train. We also train mostly gi as well, so maybe
that could be it. I've seen that. Guys just want to strike, don't want to do the ground stuff. If you're good at one thing, I've seen a lot of guys that don't want to start, another discipline, whether it's jiu-jitsu or striking to jiu-jitsu, just because it sucks to be the nail again.
Absolutely, especially those types of sports, man. It's tough.
You got to want to be good at it to get good at it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
you're going to go through some sucky times. Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Any talk of MMA or?
Yeah, there's been a couple young fellas coming through Cornerbrook. I know Jake Kelly's over at Titans now.
Jake's doing really well, man. That kid can fight like mad.
Jake's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Man, so that was a big one. But yeah, anybody who wants to doesn't stay. They're moving to Halifax. They're moving to Montreal.
That's pretty much where it's at still. Yeah. Is that their only option?
The ship cove.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Gavin's been in Halifax forever. You know, anybody else moves over, but I mean, hopefully at some point these guys will be able to stay on the island and get the training that's going to take them to the next level. But I guess, again, it's just more of an evolution of the sport and of martial arts in Newfoundland. Like I said, you know, it sounds like it's come leaps and bounds. Just since I started seeing you guys show up in Nova Scotia to compete randomly, right?
I think it'd be incredible once those guys like Gavin come back. Like, say Gavin retires, he actually starts to teach people in Newfoundland. If that's his bag, he moves back to Chip Cove and starts a gym.
Yeah. That's what it would take.
Fucking fisherman killers.
Hey, you would.
In the few people that have approached me about it and our club about it, I think it's more of an issue of access to good training than it is interest. You know, there's a lot of young guys that have even spoke to me about it, but I'm a 3-stripe blue belt with no kickboxing experience in fights or anything. So I'm not the dude to teach a kid, but I don't know where you go if that's what you want to do. And I say the same thing. You got to go to Halifax or Montreal is your closest bet to get good work.
Yeah.
You know? And it's a long road. You should probably start with some jiu-jitsu because that's just as long a road.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, too, when they touch on that jiu-jitsu when they want to be fighters, they realize this is a lot harder than they thought. We've got a lot of MMA fighters when they start jiu-jitsu after 6 months.
Yeah.
What about a submission-only show? I know we spoke about that, Colin, before, possibly doing it over there in Gross Morin on a helicopter pad. That was kind of an idea at one point, but man, I think. What about a sub-only event? Do you guys think that would work if we come over there and did something in the future?
You got enough guys to be this tight of a bracket?
Like a pay-per-view event?
Yeah.
I think
the problem with Newfoundland is it's so big, man. People don't travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the problem with Newfoundland is, I mean, the West Coast is amazing. I would love to go compete there. But to get those guys from St. John's to drive that 8-9 hour day to get to the West Coast or get on a plane, it's a big ask, right? Especially when half of them are, you know, family men like myself and family ladies, and they got families home.
There's $100 in it for you.
It's just a big ass. You're better off going with
because I think with that too, and one of the things that always comes up, and I mean, I've lived through this with judo many times, and same with jiu-jitsu, is you make all the plans and you're gonna drive or fly or wherever. If you got to go to Labrador, it's fly up, and you register for the tournament and you keep an eye on the registration. It's like, hey, there's literally nobody in my division, so why am I spending $1,800 to fly to Goose Bay? You know, and I've done that with judo and canceled trips, and I know, and got done it here. Like, they're calling me when I've directed tournaments, and they're like, hey, I want to come and fight. Is there anywhere for me to fight? You know, and it's a two-pronged thing because, you know, there's no one registered right now, and then the guys that would be fighting you, they're waiting for you to register, and then it gets 2 weeks out of when the tournament's supposed to be, and nobody's registered, and no one's committing to it because they got to fly or drive and get a hotel, and no one commits, and then, you know, are you going to be the guy that dumps all that money and goes to Stephenville to fight nobody?
What I was getting more like, I know what you're saying there is like, because that's an actual more so tournament. What I was getting at is more like what we did over here with Submission Series Pro, where we'd actually have events. So like, for example, Kyle would be lined up to go against Colin, for example, and you'd sell seats in a theater,
or like a fight card.
Or like a fight card, exactly. And that's that. But during the day, what we would do is it was called Chokes by the Ocean. So basically at night it was an event, but during the day it was a tournament outside under the sun. So people, all the lower ranks would come and compete during the day, and then the higher belts would compete at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Mike did not like that. He said, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all those
Your
plans
idea
are
is
great.
in the
All
mainland.
those plans are always great, and then we always have Mother Nature in Newfoundland that screws it all up on the 11th hour, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's
the real
a big
problem is
one
having
for
something
travel.
under
That's
this.
a big one for travel.
Yeah, especially in town. Like if you want to have a tournament under the sun in St. John's,
Yeah.
that'll never happen.
Don't have to take that. No.
Well, you could just do it like I don't know. Well, screw it then. We're not doing it. You guys obviously.
You do it in Cornerbrook or you do it in Grand Falls. You'll get some sun out here.
Well, you
Yeah,
don't do it the
West
same.
Coast. West Coast are essential for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be fun to get it to the point, or maybe it's at the point now, if we could put together Newfoundland versus Nova Scotia and bring over a Nova Scotia team and have a Newfoundland team and have everything, like you said, like a fight card, predetermined matchups like the old sub-series cards and do a
That
pay-per-view.
would be super cool. Yeah.
That would be sweet, right?
Yeah,
And what a
that'd be
killer
super
way
cool.
to like move into Newfoundland and start getting some exposure just to the athletes.
I
in
think if
school
you're going to do
over
it here, I think if you could do a,
there. Go ahead, Mike.
I think if you had a super fight on the card, you'd get a lot of people who aren't necessarily jiu-jitsu people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say you could bring Gavin back. You get Ryan James
I
involved.
was saying if you were going to do that here, I mean, the majority of people who are going to come watch are jiu-jitsu people. The club members are going to come and watch, and mom or your girlfriend or whoever is going to come and watch, even though they don't know what's going on. But if you get like, if I was going to do it, bring Gavin down, get him to fight someone super tough, and people are going to come watch that guy because they know who he is because of the UFC. You know?
I always used
And
to
you
get
get your
a kick out of
actual, just random fans who don't actually train.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you're absolutely right.
People used to always be like, "Oh, those events you guys are doing are really taking off." I'm like, "Yeah, there was 212 tickets sold, and not like half of them had a goddamn clue what was going on."
Grassroots, bro.
That's it, man. It's the people are there, like Mike said, they're there to support because they train.
Yeah, got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome, man. I mean, just to see so many, see all you guys here talking about, and you're all from different clubs, right? I didn't get that wrong the whole time. Like, the fact that there is such a large scene growing over there and things are just picking up is wicked to say. Let's go around one more time, guys. If you have any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody, if you have handles on social media you want to give out, Kyle, why don't you start us off, man, and we'll sign you guys off here one at a time.
Yeah, I just want to say, well, to all my guys and girls that are waiting patiently, just, hold on. And I know one big issue on everybody, and after all this is over, people say the white belts tend to not come back because they get comfortable not training. But just take it from me. I've taken longer time than this off, and I've made it back, and it's ended up being better than ever. So
there you go.
That's my. I just want to give a little bit of advice, basically, to everyone out there. Is just listen. It's temporary. We'll get back. Just take this as a time to heal your injuries. That's what I did. Right. So, thanks for having me, guys. This was awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Kyle.
very
much.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Go for it, Colin. Let's hear what you got to say, bud. It better be something freaking good. That's all I know.
Oh God, I was just articulate, and then you go to me.
No pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what Kyle says. Like, I've spent 8 weeks laying on the floor because I had a broken back, and then the last time I go to friggin' John's tournament, I dislocate 3 ribs. So really,
not because of me.
It wasn't. No, it was because of myself and my own ignorance.
That level of competition. That's why.
Oh yeah, it's hefty stuff. But yeah, just if anybody's into it, like, it's one of those things that if you keep training, you will have times you won't be able to train, and that's it. You just gotta keep going when you can, stop when you can't. Don't kill yourself when you come back, because that's
probably what everyone's gonna do here soon.
Yeah.
Time to dislocate everything.
Yeah.
If we can follow some models like what they're doing, say in the west coast of Australia, you get a couple partners, you can only be with them, stay relatively far apart. And I know, maybe we shouldn't look to the Australians for everything because everything else will kill them, so they don't really care about a virus.
It's true. It's the safest thing they got going.
Yeah, that's right. You get COVID, man?
Yeah.
Crikey.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice,
Once it opens up, we just got to get back at it. That's the real ticket. Try not to lose too many people and
man.
Look it up. If you could have somebody in your bubble now to train with, that would have been really good.
Yeah.
Is Jen train with you?
Who, me? No, she's not training now.
Yeah.
No.
Slacking.
Yeah,
Paul,
too bad.
got anything you can add to that, man? Any Instagram shout outs, or where can everyone find you, man?
Well, you can follow us at NewfoundlandBJJ on Facebook and NewfoundlandBJJ on Instagram. I just tell everybody, man, just try to stay ready, try to stay healthy. It's all going to end. It is a shitty time. We're going through some hard stuff right now, but we will get back to training. So just be ready, stay healthy, and stay ready to go, because when that day comes, we're going to go in and we're going to train again. And like you said, everybody's going to start off pretty sore. The more ready you stay, the better you'll be. And remember that feeling of how much you loved your team and how much you missed them during all this. Because that's all the emails I get from people, is how much they miss being with their team and they miss their family. It's that's a big thing to all this, man. It's a big piece of the puzzle. Is that
100%
family? You're joining a family when you join jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely.
And you realize how much you miss it when it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Man, that's so true. Mike, anything you can add to that? That's some good stuff. Mike.
I don't know. That's some pretty heavy words to follow. So
Yeah, man. Some real talk.
I can kind of say the same thing over. But it's all true. I mean, the one thing a couple guys I think about, all the people I think about in my club, but I know people in there who they don't train to compete. They don't train for belts. They train because they've had health issues. They've had substance abuse issues, and this is their getaway. This is the stress relief that helps them get through that. So, I always think about them and hope that without this, that they're still doing well and that they'll be back to it to just to continue on their healthy lifestyle when all this is over. Because when this is your stress relief and it's gone, if you got demons, it's the time they're going to come back. So those
absolutely
those are.
That's too bad we lost him a little bit there, John.
That I think about, and I really hope that they're bothering them. And like you said, it's all a family in the club, and it's these are the guys that want to hear these are the guys that want to hear when you're having a bad time, and they'll help you, they'll talk to you. So I hope everyone realizes that the club is more than just a place to train. It's people who really care about you. So it's good to always keep that in mind.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
You guys are very right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, gentlemen, listen, thank you so much for your time. Great to hear from The Rock. Hear everyone's doing well. Absolutely. So let's do this again sometime, and hopefully go ahead. Oh, I thought you were pointing at Kyle. Kyle.
I usually am.
Kyle's there. Kyle's still here.
Yeah. He's right there. At Cornerbrook BJJ on Instagram. Just saying.
Nice. I was born in Cornerbrook.
That's all. Were you?
Yeah, I was. All right, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you again. Take care of yourself.
See you guys. Thanks again.
Train hard,
Best
boy.
kind of an evening now.
Paul, we're keeping you.
I'm going to stay now.
You always 20 minutes, Paul.
He's part of the team, man. He's part of the team.
You're hired. Yeah.
Good episode, John. Good work, buddy.
Yeah, there we go, bud.
That was fun.
30 seconds over the hour. I'd say that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. like
besides some Newfoundland Wi-Fi and some technical difficulties, all good.
Hey, it was, you know what? I think it's so important to do these kind of things. Like, you know,
Oh yeah, man.
it helps everybody. And you, like, what wise words there at the end from all four of those gentlemen. Like, these are all people. Like, I don't know Paul at all. Tom Dunn didn't get to join us there at all. We'll get him maybe on the next version or something. But you know, Colin, obviously, he'll probably join us for everyone. I would think he's kind of our main connection over there, and he's a guy that I hold pretty dear to my heart, man. He's done a lot for our promotion, you know, even competing a couple times for us. But those episodes are really cool.
Yeah, it was good. It was, you know, it was fun, man. And I'm always interested to hear other club owners' perspectives and how they're doing things, how they're running things. Like just connecting with these people. I hope by us connecting with. How many club owners have we talked to about this? 20, 30 now? Like it's a ton, right? So at least we can hopefully gather up some information. I mean, it's been a lot of the same stuff, but we're getting the information that's out there. That's the important thing. And
that's it.
You know, it's good for both of us because we train, and it's good for everybody listening that trains, which I'm sure is
it's in connection
to the people.
Too, like talking to people and expanding your network and just. You know, you can sit here and give positive advice, and you can make Instagram posts, and you can do all this bullshit. But if you don't lead by example, the proof's not in the pudding. Like, you got to follow up. Be a good person. You know, do what you're going to say. Say what you're going to do. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but you know what I mean, right? And by talking to all these people that are kind of relatively going through the same problems we are, when it comes, not more so you, when it comes to a club, it's important to work together, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, none of us are competing against each other business-wise. It makes no difference. We're all part of this giant jiu-jitsu family that we all know what I'm talking about, right? There's you know, we all share a common interest, and like I don't know how many other gyms I've been to besides my own, at least a dozen or 20 probably. It's always been a great experience. And I know that all those guys we talked to tonight, we could go to Newfoundland and train with them tomorrow, and they're going to get it, and they're going to understand what kind of people we are just because we showed up and we rolled.
Totally. Mike Samson, I believe it was through Colin actually who hooked me up with him. But when I was in St. John's last year, I was supposed to go when I was over there on a tour. I was supposed to end up going, and he was just such a nice guy. Come on. And I just never, you know, obviously I won't get into it why I didn't make it, but screw you, old lady. But, no, I'm just joking. But yeah, it was. I wish I did get a chance. It would be fun to do an event over there. I really think.
I would just absolutely love that. So we'll see. I like Newfoundland versus Nova Scotia, man. Let's see what you guys got. Blue belt up.
You know, throw the old
man
trailer on the ferry.
Rent an old school bus. Drive the Nova Scotia team over.
Yeah, got our soccer jerseys on.
Hell yeah, bud.
Hell yeah.
Drive over with our geese on.
Here's your bag of soap. Here's your. Yeah. So for anybody who is wondering as well about John, big day today for Fight League Atlantic.
Yeah, well, I mean, good day for progress. We got our reopen plan submitted, which means really nothing more than we've put a ton of hours into a plan.
But still, it's a pretty big step.
It's a huge step, and it's the first one that needs to happen, and probably the most difficult one as far as all the thought and time that had to go into that. So, yeah, man, let's hope we get some good news in a few days and we can put a solid date out. And man, like the amount of guys we've been talking to already, and the just the interest, the overwhelming interest and support. I think that whatever rules are imposed upon us, we're going to be able to pull something off.
No question.
Before September. I don't want to overpromise, but
no, it's true. You just never know what's going to come here. But it also was good news today that Hockey Nova Scotia, the high level teams are going to start practicing in August. So hey, you know, we like I said, there shouldn't be much difference for us and them. And if they can, whatever.
Man, if they approve our plan, I think it'll work really well.
The beautiful plan. You did a fine job, good teamwork, but you had a huge part of that and made it look. You make everything look really good, John. But you made that
presentation is 90% of the sale, right?
You got her.
Yeah.
It's It's all plagiarism, but there you go, Hubert.
Yeah, no, that was a nice 15 hours of work, man. It was stupid amount of time.
Unpaid.
It better pay off. Yeah, well, it better pay off down the road. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It was a good day. I think it's a huge step for us, and yeah,
that's all we can do, man. See where we're at, and start moving apparel ahead again now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's good. We're off to tomorrow, folks. Again, happy Canada Day to everybody out there, and thanks to everybody working on the front lines to get us to this point. I have some nurse friends, and I don't have any doctor friends. Shocker. But I do have some nurse friends, and I love you lots, and thanks for what you've been doing. But yeah, we're off tomorrow night, John. Back Thursday night with a Datsu Sara episode.
Cool.
So yeah, we got a few other athletes, and the co-owner of Datsu Sara will be on, and then Friday night, Friday during the afternoon, it'll be 4:00 episode on Friday with Kyle Prepelic from Ontario and someone else.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, man.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right, happy Canada, everybody.
All right, see ya, folks. If you can be anything in this world,
be kind, people.
Hope you take it all the wrong way. Do you slump near the bum near the bar place? This red light put your ass in a dark place. It is an ultimate marathon from the land, which is the city of Babylon. Dress in my head, don't confuse me for cinema. I'm one of a kind, I go like a Digimon. When I be farming, not many books. Raw, ain't no Hakuna Matata. Cause you shouldn't fuck with a man.
You're naked, no hooks in, but he gets it anyway.
Run up on a.
Oh, good overhand right. That's it. His fight is over.
Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thanks to our friends. We'll see you tomorrow.